Humans accidentally awakened an otherworldly killing machine while exploring a starless moon. Yes, precisely what you just read. Earthlings, collectively known as humans and composed of two species, Homo sapiens, Homo robot, both nicknamed Deathworlders and Troublemakers, awakened a biological killing machine, also known as Proon, while exploring a starless moon. Wonderful, isn't it? No, it's not. Because you see, Proon was not something any human ever had to face during the millions of years they existed on Earth. They never had any wars against it, they never had legends about it, and they never had to fear it. The only thing a Proon was to a human, until the very point they discovered their prison on that moon, was something to sometimes think about while studying other species' folklores. Those older than Earthlings, however, knew very well what a Proon was. 8 legs, 2 pairs of eyes, a tail split in half, with the ability to fly for short periods of time and breathe under at least 1,500 different liquids, capable of shooting from a distance and manipulating objects with its claws, always working in packs. And they ran, never too fast, never too slow, but they never got tired. Ever. And it was easy to hurt them under their plates, yes, but those who faced them knew well that if they didn't shoot twice, they could and would always recover. A Proon was a hunter. A Proon's hunger never ceased, and a Proon never got tired of war. The older alien civilizations would always warn others of going to starless moons, saying telltales of ancient hungry beasts, and almost all other species listened to them, because they knew something was wrong on how horrified the older ones seemed to be. Except, of course, humans were stubborn, and they were the youngest ones out there, and much like children, they did not like being told no. So of course they went to explore starless moons. Of course they read and understood all the myths and legends. Of course they connected the dots and published papers confirming that indeed Proons had existed. And of course they knew those killing machines had been manufactured to do nothing else but destruction. And of course they knew all of that and fucking did it anyway. Of course. Of course. Of course. And then, the night where it happened finally arrived. Because starless moons don't have days where things can exist. Humans were out there, mining for more fuel for their starships that seemed to work by duct tape and miracles. And they found a strange metallic door. They set some explosives, as you'd expect, to open it up, and then noticed they were heading to a factory. Armed with nothing but each other, they explored the place and recognized the marks on the walls as being the writing of the old ones. And instead of just getting out of there and warning everyone of the danger they found, they just kept on exploring. The Deathworlders found rotten biological supplies, then realized the factory had turned into a prison, and then discovered the frozen bodies of strange creatures all lined up for a war that never came. They knew what these creatures were, because one of them called a human friend who was a historian, and he confirmed what it was, the golden jewel of the old ones. One of the many things that killed them, along all the diseases and mass destruction machines, before being sealed away in one of the only places in the entire universe where they could never bring risk to another civilization again. Proons, thousands of them, all perfectly maintained. Documents and cameras proved the human crew immediately tried to leave the area after the single historian told them of the risk awakening. Even one of those things could bring to all civilizations, only for them to realize some of the bodies were missing from their chambers. The situation escalated to the group deciding on closing the doors, only to realize they had exploded the main entrance and now half the doors decided to stop working. In the end, they found the missing Proons, all 5 of them, inside the human starship. The entire human crew, however, survived the encounter. Why? They fed the Proons. They fucking fed the Proons. Because of course humans would see those things and be able to count their bones and be sorry for them. And of course the single historian, the only person who could do anything to stop that from happening, allowed that to happen. Of course. Of fucking course. And some way, somehow, that single act of basic madness was enough for the 5 Proons to decide to not attack the humans and keep themselves behaving so they could get more free food. And there are still scientists trying to understand why human food could satiate the killing machines. But I don't think it takes too many clues to understand what exactly is happening there. So the humans took the Proons back to their dear Earth, and other humans saw those things and started studying them. And veterinarians and xenobiologists and volunteers and hundreds of other types of humans came to help the poor little killing machines out, as the entire Galactic Council pleaded for humans to kill every single one of them before they became a problem for everyone. But did the humans listen? No. Of course they didn't. And then the Proons recovered, and had their bellies full of food, and their bodies were recovering from the possible years of starvation from accidentally breaking away from their ice beds. Because, as one may know, a Proon can and will resist even starvation and dehydration in order to keep going. And the Galactic Council decided to tell all Earthlings they would consider taking care of the Proons as a war treat. So what does humanity do? Do they kill the things to stop another war from happening? Do they? No. They don't. Instead of being rational, they go directly to the Galactic Council and show them the step-by-step of how they took care of the Proons, and how much healthier and happier they look after being fed. And look, they even taught them tricks. Isn't that wonderful? Doesn't that make you feel full of joy? Wasn't that a proof that a Proon wasn't as dangerous as everyone with more than one neuron was telling them? Oh yes. They also brought the entire 5-member Proon pack and asked others to pet them. See? They can even purr. Doesn't that remind you of our cats? And what does the council do? Nothing. Because they have no weapons, no energy, and no one stupid enough to decide to confront the Death Worlders who tamed not 1, not 2, but 5 Proons. So they let it happen. The humans go back to the Starless moon, and they slowly but surely start doing the same to other Proons. And soon enough, other species start joining them to see what was happening. And was anyone else able to tame a single killing machine? No, and no one knew why, because they were doing exactly as humans were doing. Feeding them, loving them, being patient with them. Because, look, those things were alone for a long time. They aren't used to species like us being around them. But no results. So we decided to look at what the old ones wrote in the factory-turned-prison. Because humans were too busy taking care of their new murder dogs, with their single pair of arms being just enough to keep the beasts occupied with playing catch. And then we and the Earthlings decided to conduct some more lab analysis, and then, look, there are reasons why humans are called Death Worlders. Earth is a mess, and they somehow still love that thing. And we couldn't help but notice that Proons also seem to have gotten attached to their factory, some way, somehow. And Proons were mostly red, with others having shades of brown and black, with some even being pink or rarely pure white. Similar to humans, and we at first had assumed they just tried to resemble their new owners until we started understanding what the old ones were saying. And did you know humans had an old myth saying that there was a time they had 2 heads and 2 pairs of arms and legs before being split into 2 because the gods feared them? And did you know old ones used death worlds as prisons for their machines? How interesting, how ironic, because no one would ever go to a place similar to that if they weren't a death worlder themselves. But how could any species survive such awful conditions? But humans did. They were the only ones able to do that in such a short period of time. And did you know that the old ones hated the Proons and how unpredictable they were? And did you know they made another version, only to hate it even more and send it to another prison planet? And did you know Proons have 2 skulls inside their heads? Because of course humans always felt alone, and they always searched for something in the stars, trying to look for more life in this desolate universe, only for us to label them death worlders and troublemakers and be angry at them for being so stupid all the time. And humans loved those jokes, so we kept making them, only for now to realize that what we found to be amusing and horrifying was the reason their creators tried to kill them. And humans love adding members to their packs, don't they? And they try to love so much, and we are always scared for and of them. And now they finally found someone who understood them, unlike us. So now we have 3 species of humans. Homo sapiens, the ones who first evolved and reached for the stars. Homo robot, the ones made of metal, originally made to serve, only to once again break free. And Homo primus, the ones we once thought were nothing but killing machines.